Hi all, welcome back. Not in the shed at the moment, but I'm going to no doubt go into the shed at some point, but I'm going to do the rest of the mini speedo now and try and get that sorted out. So as I've conversed with a few other people since the last video, yeah, can't work out how I've not had indicator problems with no diodes or anything on the mini speedo. Just no idea. I mean, I've had well, let me think. I was thinking, trying to work it out. So we've just had Mackie's bike meet, the second one. I definitely had the struts on the year before, and I'd had them on for about 8 months, almost a year then anyway. So I've had the LEDs on there. So we're looking like, yeah, 2 years. And yeah, the LEDs have been on there because ever since I had the struts on, I put those little strip LEDs down them. So yeah, it's never had a problem. Mad, you know, 2 MOTs. I can't explain it, but there we go. I have no idea, but yeah, we're going to crack on. So during the course of the week, I had a rummage through my parts boxes and got a selection of resistors. I've tried to understand Ohm's law so I can work out what resistor to put in line for a blue LED. I think I can't really work it out. I probably could if I sat down for a bit longer, but I'm just not very good at this sort of stuff. So what I've done is just got a selection of resistors, and I'm just going to try them out. Just going to literally just tie one around each wire, stick them on the battery, have a look at the speedo, see what works. Should be all right. So we'll have. So I mean, but in some ways, it could be helpful if you're like me and a complete imbecile when it comes to this, the science of this sort of stuff. We can have a little bit of just, you know, boneheaded kind of trial and error. And the other thing, I've got some diodes. I found some diodes in my little box, which I think were left over from, well, I don't know what they were left over from. I definitely used them when I did the SR250 build, because that had a similar problem when I put the mini speedo on, where I did encounter the same LED issue and had to put some diodes in. I think I did a video on it. That was kind of like the first time I've ever had to mess around with it. But these are obviously the same diodes. I don't use diodes on a daily basis. So they are and they are signal diodes. They are these particular ones are 1N4148. I think that's part of the 1N4 family of diodes. From what I saw online and looked around, the 1N4, whatever type of diode that is, it's switching diode, I don't know. They should work. So we'll give it a go, we'll find out. We're going to pop them in anyway. I can't remember on the last video if I had an updated schematic to include the diodes, but this is the one I'm going to follow. I think I've worked it out that this is correct, and we'll find out as the course of this video goes on, but here it is. So let's crack on with it then. Let's have a look at the resistors. Okay, bit rough and ready, but had a big old bag of resistors that I found, and none of them were marked up, obviously. They're all just bundled in the same bag. So I've spent a bit of time working out what the values are. Now Carl, thank you Carl, suggested, I believe you suggested a 125 ohm resistor, or in that area. I had 120, also had 130, and then some higher values here and here. There's some values that were massive high into like, what was it, the kilo ohm, and or even higher than that. They're probably going to be too massive. So these are the ones that I think are more likely to fit the bill. in order to try and find out, because I have not the mental capacity to work out the little coloured striped bands that tell you what the values are on here. That's what the little coloured bands on a resistor are for. They're all different. And they just identify it at glance if you know that kind of stuff. I do not. I use an online resistor calculator. You can just type in if it's 4 band or a 5 band or a 6 band, however many stripes the resistor's got on it, put the colours in, boom, job's good. And so let's take these out to the shed. It's a bit of a ghetto fix up. So just identified the, obviously as we know, the blue wires are for the main beam LED. So yeah, negative wire is just going to go there. So if I get the positive and just put it on my battery, so that's how bright that is, just as it is. So let's have a little look. We're going to go, let's just try the 300 first. Let's give that a razz. Just twisted resistor around on there, pop it on. Well, it's quite a lot dimmer, isn't it, that one? Actually, I'll turn the torch off. I think yeah, I've got the torch on, haven't I? But I mean, even with that, you can see it's not half as bright. Okay, so that one, I've got the 130 ohm. Oops, not done that. It's not too bad actually, 130. Enough to kind of see it that it's on, but not enough to be blinding, possibly. Yeah, I think that's my favourite so far. Let's just whip the resistor off and see what it was like. Let's see if it's out. Oh yeah, big difference. Yeah, so let me just, right, let's just, I'm going to do this and splice it together in the editing, so I'm going to see which one I prefer. So the first one is going to be no resistor, 300 ohm and a 120. So I'll just review those and see which one. So I think just looking back at those and bearing in mind that's in daylight, so obviously my main beam's on during the day. It's not a major issue, a bit brighter, but it's night time and it's actually the blinding to my eyes. So I'm going to go with the 300 because I think even in a darker situation you're still going to see that that's on. And yeah, it's not going to be any drum. I'm just literally going to solder it into the wire, sleeve it with heat shrink. Job's done. If you want to change it, it's a case of just pulling the heat shrink off, unsoldering it and putting a different one in. So that's what we're going to go with first. So I'm going to want to keep all these about this. Don't want to lose too much length off the wires. It's quite a bit, so yeah, I'm going to put the resistor about, I think about there. That gives me enough wire left over to have the crimp, so I don't want any of this fouling trying to get into the crimp housing. So a little bit further back from there. Yeah, it's about there. So keep that. So I'm just going to get some heat shrink and sleeve that. I didn't have any yellow wire, the same for the turn signals, so it's going to have to be black, but that's alright. Right, that yellow wire is just not wanting to solder. Haven't got any flux here either, but so I'm going to probably chip. Well, I am going to cheat a little bit. I've got these little barrel crimps. They're not. This is not exact. Really, the correct way. I don't know. Well, if it works, it's the correct way, innit? If it's a good job, whatever gets the job done. I haven't got the correct crimping tool for it either, but that'll do. Cover that in a bit of heat. Next thing, get these little diodes. I don't think there is any way we are going to pick this up on the camera, but there's like a little, the anode and your cathode, but there's like a little black line here. Trying to remember which way around that is. If I find a nice picture. That's a bit clearer, I'll put it up. But basically the kind of line, the stripe is towards the speedo. He says with confidence he's just looking at his schematic. Yes. So actually I'll probably do it. So it kind of look like that. I think I probably could have just soldered the two diodes, the ends together, and then had the wires coming out, but I think it'll be, it's be nicer to have it in line. Plus actually it wouldn't have worked because that yellow wire wasn't soldering very well. I wouldn't really wanted to have put those two together, the legs, and then tried to crimp them. So yeah, there we go, it's all worked out. Okay, so I didn't film the rest of it, just soldering. I had to charge the phone up as well, but so we're pretty much ready for crimping. So we've just got the oil and neutral positives soldered together, going to a purple. I had some purple wire. Those two stay the same, backlight positive, oil light negative, red and black. Neutral negative, that stays on its own. These are our turn signal ones now, so we've got the diodes, well, single breaks into two, goes to two separate pins in the connector, with a diode in line in each wire. So they're ready to be crimped. I've got all the remaining earths, so that was backlight negative, high beam negative, turn signal negative. They're all soldered together, heat shrunk, and going into grey. And then we've got the high beam main positive with the resistor in line. So they're all there. So I need to going to try and get the sleeving on. Hopefully I can slide it back over, even though we've got a bit more bulk at this end. I also, whilst I was digging around, found a little rubber waterproofing sleeve, which I might slide on as well before we crimp it on, because that'll just be a nice little addition to stop any water ingress. So I might whack that on. Yeah, so I'm going to fiddle around trying to feed these wires through, which probably won't be, that'll probably take up the most amount of time. Then we'll get crimping, and then we'll see if it works. Right, now these crimps are, I'm guessing the wires, I can't really remember, I haven't got my old speedo here, but the stock Triumph wires, probably a slightly thicker gauge than the mini speedo wires. So the tangs at the back, these two tangs here are the ones that are going to fold over and grip the bare wire, and that holds your insulation, but as you can see that's quite a big grip on the back there. So I'm just going to trim them down so they're a tiny bit more suitable for these wires. A little bit of crimp manipulation just so it's slightly better fit, hopefully. Double the wire, bare wire over as well. Not the best practice for crimps, but as long as it's solid, we've got good connection. I'm going to run with it. Okay. These ones I'll have to do in two stages. So I'll do the wire, bare wire crimp first, and then slightly bigger for the insulation crimp. Cool. And there's no way you're going to be able to see that up close. Not without it getting a bit blurry, but there we go. I'll do the rest of them, and then because you don't want to watch that, that'll be a bit dull. One's enough. There you go, all crimped. Saved you a few minutes of complete boredom there. So, well, now we're just going to, using my wiring diagram that I did, let's try and get these in the right holes so we don't cock it up. Put it together. I think we should nip out to the shed, and oh, you know what I've done? I haven't put this on. I was going to put that on, wasn't I? Right, here we go then, moment of truth. So I've just plugged it in down there for now. With lights on. Okay, so, yep. Right. What's that mean, like? Yeah, it's pretty, I'm happy with the blue. It's not super bright, but that'll do. Right, here's the big one. Indicators. Left. Oh, yes. Yes. Other side. Flashing. Flashing. Not that side. Not that side. We're rocking and rolling. Okay, I've tried to make the shed quite dark. I've stuck the speedo on. I was wondering, maybe should I have gone for like a 130, 150 ohm? Maybe the 300 was a bit excessive. It is pretty faint, but I think it's going to be fine for me anyway. Other people might prefer a slightly lower value resistor, but so this is in the dark. And it's actually, I mean, it's not coming through. It's interesting. I'm looking through the camera, and it's more apparent in the flesh that that blue light is on than it is through the camera really. But yeah, maybe a little bit of a lower one, but that's not going to bother me. My main thing, of course, was the indicators, where all rocking and rolling with that. So, job done. End of video.